very far, and they were walking. It sometimes takes as much as 4 months. Yeah. So usually we don't pass it because of the rain sound.
That's glass? That was glass.
So what happens because of the distance? They use sometimes as much as 4 months walking barefooted for continuously 4 months before finally getting to this place. The trade didn't happen in Ghana alone, but it went beyond this place. So as far back places as Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, they were having people from that section that were passing through this place. But because of how lucrative the business was for those who started it, so other European countries also came in. Which countries came in? People from countries like Denmark, Sweden, the British, the French. All of these people were in here to also have a piece of this trade. But among they themselves, the Europeans, they were still fighting because each of them wanted total dominance over the resources. They built forts and castles scattered all the way across the coastal areas. Those castles were initially supposed to be used for the goods they were trading in. But when they started doing the slave trade, they were using those same facilities to keep the slaves. So imagine being in a room that was supposed to be used as storage facility for goods. Then all of a sudden they are bringing human beings there. No proper window, very poor ventilation. They sit in the same room. They defecate in the same room, and they were there with their fecal matter. It was a very horrific trade. It was a very horrific journey. But when they finally get to Assin Manso here, this is the last back river, and then this is the market. The whole of this section, all the way to where we started our journey from, were all parts of the market. But this place is significant in the sense that if you can come closer, the brown water you see here is the slave river, the brown one. It is called Donkonsio. So in our local language, Donkon is a slave. So slave river, you say Donko Nsio. Nsio is water. So the brown one you see here is the slave river. It is always calm. It is always calm, just like you see it here.
So it's never filtered.
It's always calm, just like this. This one is a different river. It is called Nana Emisa. Nana Emisa, but the locals call it Ochi. So you see two different rivers joined at this section. But this is where the captives were having their last bath. That is why we have the last bath on this particular sign over here. When they get to this particular place, 3 different activities go on here. The first one is the last bath. This is where they have the very last bath, awaiting the merchants that will be coming from the castles and forts to come and do the auction here. Beyond this place, at the initial stages, the Europeans were not crossing beyond this. So they will come from the castles to this place, do the auctioning from this section, and then go back with whichever individual they get. Right. From here, after the baths, they come to this section, they smear shea butter on their body to keep them fresh.
Oh, shea butter.
Okay. But because of the long distance, they were not feeding them well. They were not taking any proper water. But when they get here, this is where they give them something that resembles food. Not because they love them, but because of the journey. Most of them become very weak. So when they get here, they give them something that resembles food for them to get their body back. A bit of their body, because they can't get all back at a go. Right. There are times they spend as much as 2 or 3 months at this particular market. They use broken glasses to take off their hair for them to look young, and their beard. Beyond that, they open their mouth, count the number of teeth in their mouth to give them idea as to the age of the individuals. It was not only men that were taken away. Women, children, and strong men were carried through this trade. The women, because when they get to the new world, they have the opportunity to give birth, and then they keep the cycle of having the black race still over there to help in the activities that the cactus would have been doing there. The kids, for the same continuity. So whilst they are young, they're able to grow old, get the same strength of their fathers and uncles, and then continue the chain. From the bats, they go to the auction section. So when they get to the auction section, they line them up after counting their teeth, knowing their age, taking off their beard and their hair. The merchant that comes from the castles is able to sit just like we have on the picture and then pick the ones they want. So they take the strong ones, the one they think can work, and then the weaker ones are left here. Those that die here, because the journey, I told you, they spend sometimes about 3 months here. So those who die here are thrown into that water we just left. There are some that also left here because these bamboos were all serving as camps. So when they bring them, they use these bamboos as camps. They stay there until the merchants come from the castles to come and pick or to come and buy those they want to buy. So they change them with the commodities that they have, with the understanding of the readers, and then they take them out. It wasn't only through the war victims that they were trading this activity. Because it became lucrative for certain people, others went into the various communities to steal people. That's what I call. I say they go to steal people. They go kidnapping people from various communities, bring them here, and then trade them in exchange for certain goods. After the auction, whichever person the various merchants picks, they group them. Then they have the first branding. What is the first branding about? They put metal into fire, becomes red hot. They use it to make symbols or signs on the individual, depending on the one who bought them. So each master has a common symbol they put on all the captives he got. The next master does the same thing, the other one does the same thing. They put them back, they are still in their shackles and chains, and then they are taken to the Cape Coast Castle and then the other castles along the coast. It was a very horrific trade, which we don't want to promote. It's something that is very emotional, something that we don't keep on going to make any good statement about. But in the year 1998, the mortal remains of two different individuals were brought here to the park to bury them. So when you got to the park, you saw some tombs over there.
You said 1998?
1998, just 1998. So from the river, we'll be going there, but I want to connect that place to this place. So when those people were brought that 31st July 1998, they brought them to the park over there to bury them. One was from United States of America, the other one was from Jamaica.
Oh, they brought their people.
They were descendants of the tree that were brought back home. So they brought their bones into the casket, brought them to the side there to bury them, to give them a befitting burial. Far better than what was done then, wherever they brought them from. So it was during that year that this particular structure was created here to signify that journey they made back home. So whereas our ancestors who went out with the last bath, our brothers and sisters who are coming back from diaspora are able to enter, have a feel or a touch of the water through the first bath of return. So if you don't mind, we just descend to the river for us to have a touch of the water and have that connection with our ancestors. This afternoon when I brought the people who came around, this whole place wasn't like this. It rained some few minutes ago and it's like this. We are almost getting into the raining season, and when we are in the raining season proper, all of this section, the water comes here. So during that time, we are not able to enter like we are doing now. But those who came this afternoon and yesterday, they had the opportunity. Some went as far as this place. Some were able to cross all the way to that particular site. This is the site where our ancestors had their last bath. So usually, we give the opportunity to our brothers and sisters from the diaspora to have a feel of it, to step into it, to touch it. It's a way of thanking our ancestors. Somebody who has been able to do 7 months work, 6 months work, 5 months work, being kept in the dungeons with all the conditions there, and finally being able to be transported outside, and finally you are back home. It is an opportunity for us to say thank you to them. It's an opportunity to reconnect with them. It is a time that those who want to ask questions will have the opportunity to ask our ancestors questions. And it's time for those who want to say thank you to also say thank you to our ancestors. This place is a space of memorial, a sacred place where all of these activities are done. This is the last Bath River. It's a very sacred place. If you want to take a picture from this section, you are free to do that. And if you want to do a video from this section, you are free to do that. Aside that, when you are done, we go back to the park and then we talk about the tombs and then we end the talk from that section. If you want to do meditation, you have some few minutes to do that and then we move to the talk.